Player 2 has entered the game.
So Scum just had one of the most important interviews it's ever had, and I was more than honored that it happened on my channel. The lead level designer literally told the entire backstory and lore of Scum, which up until now we didn't have. We discussed how they'll be tying it into the missions, NPCs, and major content that will be coming to the game, and we even talked about the future of PvP and events. And there were some massive bombshells there. But there were some awesome little nuggets of info that any Scum player needs to hear littered throughout. So watch and enjoy, and if you're watching this live, look at the live chat to enter the giveaway for another Scum key. And don't miss the next one. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel here and follow me on Twitch from the link in the description below to always stay up to date on Scum.
Thanks for having me, everybody. So what I want to talk about today is the lore of Scum. Some of the parts of the lore you're not familiar with. Some people already know part of the story, especially they have the supporter pack active since they got a mini game design document along with it. And as I'm going to talk about the lore, I'm also going to try to tie it up with the new upcoming features. To explain to you guys some history of the island along with the changes that are going to be coming in the upcoming patches. So for those of you that already know this part of the story, I'm sorry for repeating it, but anyway, the premise of Scum is actually set in a time of New World Order. Large private corporations have taken full control over the world and its resources, and countries and governments are merely the pawns controlled by money and the interests of those global corporations. So the whole base of the story is that people are turned into slaves, simple tools for creating more money for that 1% of the privileged people who regard themselves as the rulers of the earth above everyone else. The story, the part of the story that ties to the upcoming places of interest that are coming into the game. So the weapons factory is the first place we're going to visit. It was built a long time ago, and it served as a weapons manufacturing plant for the Croatian army. And it was later abandoned and bought by a private company named Tech One. The island itself had a strong infrastructure that made it completely independent to the mainland in case of war. So that explains the power plants, factories, entertainment centers, etc. Weapons factory is actually the place where the first BCU chip was made. And it was developed by a Tech One company and financed by the military. So it was actually made under the premise of saving terminally ill patients, inducing coma for keeping them alive, etc. But the real aim that was hidden from the public eye was to create ways to control vehicles, like drones, tanks, airplanes, etc., without the need for personnel. So it was actually, the aim was to produce new BCU-controlled machinery for military needs. This would lower the amount of human lives lost in wars, and at the same time, it would improve the accuracy, precision, and coordination of war machines. It would also eliminate the need for rest and energy regeneration for armies, since there would be no more people in the army. It was mostly going to be controlled by machines. It's similar to the Terminator Skynet story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, when you eliminate the human feelings, needs, and limitations in combat operations, it results in actions that are precise and efficient. So at first, the tests that were conducted proved successful. The amount of financial support was drastically increased due to excellent results. And the first tests were conducted on the machinery itself, but as the technology developed, additional options became available. So what they aimed to do here was not just to limit the BCU-controlled machinery, to limit the BCU to control the machinery, but also try to implement it into animals and further down the line, maybe even people.
And this is great so far because I don't think that everybody does know all the beginning, lore of the game, and a lot of people that are, because I mean, I guess where would they even find this information other than what you're telling us here?
Nowhere. This is actually the exclusive for you.
So yeah.
This was never mentioned. Yeah, this was never mentioned before.
So this is never mentioned before, guys, so pay attention if you want to know about the lore and how it's going to kind of factor into some of the stuff that we're going to be hearing about coming in the next few updates and things like that.
So when we said about the BCU tests on the machinery and everything, they took place in the weapons factory that's coming up with the expansion of the island and new places of interest. So you can expect the weapons factory to be more like, you're going to see a lot of military machinery there, a lot of, obsolete parts like rockets and unused, parts of tanks, etc. But it's not going to be like totally high tech. It's going to be mostly basic, something that you would even find in real life. The more high-end stuff is going to be reserved for the new hospital, and it's going to be reserved for underground bunkers that are going to get a bit expanded soon.
Well, I know we like the sound of that.
Yeah, you can actually expect a lot of changes for military bunkers in the future. Actually, some changes are probably going to come with an upcoming patch. I can't disclose all of the details, but it's going to change the way raids on other people's bases are performed as well.
Raids and the way it's going to be performed on people's bases. Okay.
Yeah. So along with the changes to the base building factors, some new buildings. Yeah. Oh, someone already mentioned C4 in chat, and they're on the right track. But but it's not going to be that simple. Actually, you're going to have to perform some things before you obtain something like C4. So it's going to be a bit tricky. Raiding bases is not going to be easy in any way. And you can expect things like mines and booby traps not to be the main tool in raiding people's bases anymore. They're going to fall into the defensive category for protecting your bases and perimeters, as they should have been from the start.
Sure. Yeah, I think that'll make it much more advanced, and I know that people really like, especially when it comes to something like base rating, the more tactical side of things.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. When we go through the Steam forums and we read through all the feedback from people and everything, it's easy to understand why some people are feeling frustrated, especially if you and your teammates spend so much time building your bases, so much resources. You dedicate yourself to building like the best possible base for your team, and someone just uses a few explosives and breaks into it, and steals all your loot. So we're aiming actually to bring up more strategy when it comes to base rating, and to lower the amount of rage that it will induce in people that do get raided.
Well, that's good, because there's definitely a little bit of rage there sometimes.
Yeah, it's completely understandable. But, guys, it's early access. We're here to balance stuff as you reported to us. So
Sure.
thank you for your patience anyway.
And that's something I wanted to mention too, is, before we get further into it, right now I know I see a lot of questions probably popping up down. They're just moving so fast right now, I haven't been able to read them while we've been talking. But we do plan to have a Q&A section of this and have people basically offer suggestions, especially for some of the stuff we're going to be talking about that we've discussed prior to. And so there will be a part of the stream where we do that. Also, for those of you asking about the keys being given away, we gave away one at the beginning. We're going to be giving away 2 more intermittently throughout. So there will be a couple more we'll be giving out as well. But yeah, so we'll do questions, I promise, later, and suggestions as well. Go for it if you're ready to continue.
If you would like to read some questions to me, I can answer them.
Oh, cool. What? Yeah, let's answer some now. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess since there's a lot of you guys in there, I'm not going to be able to scroll back and read every single one of them. So I'll read any questions you guys can give right now. Where do I get my key? Oh, Unknown Death. just whisper to me, man, on Twitch, or if you're in our Discord, just send a message to me, and I'll make sure that you get it after the stream. Just make sure you do that so I don't forget who you are, because there's no way for me to really check that otherwise. Did you get marbles installed? Oh, that's for the giveaways. When do they plan on bringing the map expansion out?
Most likely by the end of the year. It's not a 100% promise, but we're going to do our best to do it. by then.
Awesome. I mean, still that's still rather sooner than I had originally anticipated. So that's the fact that you guys have been. I mean, you guys have been probably working on this expansion well before you guys had told us about it.
Yeah, but but also just as this time we're working our asses off.
Yeah.
We're like planning 2 or 3 patches in the upcoming months. So you're going to see some amazing changes to the game. It's not just going to be map expansion. It's going to be a change to complete way the game is played. So from raiding and base building to metabolism, diseases, etc. I'm guessing this is going to be the biggest change game has gotten yet.
Awesome. And when you say that, are you talking about 0.5?
Yeah, the plan is to have the 0.5 by the end of the year.
Awesome.
So I cannot disclose the exact date,
Sure.
obviously. But,
Of course.
so, yeah, because you know, like game development is not something linear. It can change at any moment, and some tasks take more time to develop than others, and some things have to be postponed because some internal systems have been changed in the meantime.
Sure. Or other unknown roadblocks. Yeah.
Yeah, but we are planning on. First of all, we did get your feedback that there were some drastic performance changes when it comes to the big city in the game with the last patch, and we managed to pinpoint the problem, and we're working on resolving it with the upcoming patch. It should be out like next week or something like that. So hopefully that will solve the issue with the lags.
Sure.
And then the patch after that should probably have some kind of a base building update, most likely, and the changes to raiding. And further down the road, we're planning on expanding the map and bringing new places of interest into the game.
Awesome. Yeah, I know. I was wondering that too. So, I mean, I guess you guys have a few more smaller patches planned before the big 0.5 then, right?
Yeah, I mean, the patch amount of patches that we plan to give out is changing all the time. If we can bring things together and release it in a big patch, that's great. But sometimes we have to break it into a few smaller patches, not to disrupt the things we already have finished. For an instance, if we finish working on something, and in the meantime we have a critical engine update that needs to be done or something like that, we have to postpone the changes that were already made and wait for the critical update to finish, and then we have to release it all together. So some things have to wait for others to be finished before we can let them out, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Another question, I'm trying to read them as they come, and I'm trying to go back to follow through. Someone is asking about wheelbarrows. Is there any idea? I know that we just got a tweet from Tommy about it a little bit earlier, but any idea on when those are coming?
Tom is tweeting like crazy.
I know.
I think most likely that wheelbarrows are going to be part of the base building changes that we're
Awesome.
looking forward to.
Cool. I mean, it would make sense, right?
Yeah, it's not something I can promise 100% because some people already know, most of the veterans, we had sleds in the game sometime before.
Sure.
And they brought a lot of problems into the game because people were actually using sleds to raid other people's bases. In the end, we had to remove them altogether. So we had to make sure that nothing similar happens with wheelbarrows when they come.
That's what I was going to ask. So the way that the wheelbarrows are being programmed, it's you guys have already taken that into account. You know what happened with the sleds and the raiding before, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
We learn from our mistakes.
Sure. Somebody's asking about the crossbow. Any idea on that?
I'm not 100% when the crossbow is coming, but I know it's fairly close to being finished. And it's not going to be just one variation of the crossbow. It's probably going to be something like 3.
And this is a suggestion, I think, more than a question, but basically explosives with timers on them.
Yeah, it's going to be a possibility, definitely.
Awesome.
I also would like to mention we got a lot of interesting suggestions from the last time. People were like dropping on the Steam forums and giving us all kinds of great ideas. And someone mentioned the possibility to put explosives or booby trap someone else's car. So that's something we're also probably gonna implement sometime in the future.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that would be very intense, just to kind of like open your car door and then kaboom.
Yeah, it's actually amazing when you read all the suggestions and when you see how much inspiration people have. I mean, are really so amazed and so bedazzled by the amount of inspiration and creativity you guys share with us. Thank you.
Absolutely. JD Crowbar says, cut the brake lines. Somebody's driving without brakes. That is pretty funny too. But yeah, I've noticed that a lot too. It's a very intimate community. Ever since I joined, and started playing the game, there's people that have thousands and thousands of hours into this game, and they have a lot of good insight on things that they'd like to see, and they've been playing a lot of them since the beginning. So I mean, they're always in tune with what you guys may or may not bring to the game, or what should be implemented and what shouldn't be. But yeah, I mean, I write in here in this chat section. I'm getting tons of good suggestions and questions. Man, they're going so fast. Have you been able to look at the chat, Bunny?
Yeah.
Anything that you like?
Because it's your channel.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. If you see anything in there that you'd like to answer, go for it.
Okay, so you're okay with me interfering?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, 100%. Full name,
Okay.
man.
Casty asks if there's going to be new holsters coming. Yes. I'm going to confirm that. The holster you have right now in the game is going to be an improvised version, and new military holsters are going to be brought into the game, and they're going to be the spawned versions of the holsters.
Right, those you wouldn't craft, of course. Okay.
Okay, someone asked about the bug, like disappearing locks on claim doors. That was unfortunately a mistake on our parts. I'm deeply sorry for that, but it was something we couldn't avoid in the end. We made some changes that kind of reverted some things back, and after we'd already let the patch be live, there was no way to revert it anymore. So deeply sorry for that. We're going to do our best not to repeat something like that again.
Awesome. Oh, and something I usually ask too, or I say it, I think every stream that I do with any dev that I'm doing an interview with, when people are talking about questions and suggestions for the game, it's better to hear it straight from you. Most of this is already obvious, but where do you usually recommend are the best places for people to offer their questions and suggestions to help you guys out?
Well, personally, the favorite place to find suggestions for me is the Steam forums, since that's part of my job to moderate them from time to time. And me and a couple of guys, we go through all the suggestions and your answer and your questions on a daily basis. So that's actually the best place to give the suggestions or ask questions or report bugs, etc. You can also do it on our official Discord channel for Scum.
Awesome. Sorry, I got to take a piss real quick. I've been drinking too much.
Yeah.
Got to break the seal.
Yeah.
But awesome. And I mean, and for those of you guys that don't know, especially when you were saying, that's part of your job and everything, Bunny here is the lead level designer for Scum game. And so just that's his title for you guys that didn't already know. I didn't really announce that at the beginning of the stream. Let me pop down, sit back down with you. Furnaces. I guess that's meant for bases. Is furnaces something you guys have been mentioned at all?
Yeah, it was one of those suggestions that we also shared on the Steam forums, and it was a great one, and we most definitely plan to implement them further down the road. I'm still not sure in which way they're going to serve players, but mostly for smelting something, I guess, or maybe for advanced base building construction.
Yeah, that could make a lot of sense. I mean, if you guys are thinking about, along the lines of that, I just spitballing off the top of my head, then would that bring in mining or things like that for like ore, or where would the materials come from?
Yeah, we most definitely plan to use most places of interest on the island. Some of those are already, as you know, mines or quarries, etc.
Right.
They're all going to bring some build materials for your bases, and also some of them are going to have unique build materials inside of them.
Like the brick factory that we talked about in our last interview, right?
Yeah, it's going to be a place where you'll find bricks, obviously, but bricks are something where some sort of material that you'll be able to find at the rest of the island as well, but it's going to be more concentrated around the brick factory. But mines are probably going to have some sort of unique ore that's going to be used in certain recipes.
And somebody's asking about growing crops. Anything to say about that?
Yeah, we already have some models made for the base building, starting meshes and everything. but we have to wait for some priority stuff to be implemented first. It's not something that's going to be a big game changer as it is. So first we have to, incorporate basic systems like rework metabolism, diseases, etc. And then further down the road, we can talk about growing plants, maybe even marijuana.
Yeah. Somebody have a little pot farm. I know that some of you guys want to do that already, especially smoking out the 44 piece in here.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, right?
No, no, there's not. I just happen to live in an area where, I live in North Carolina, in the United States, and, we have some states that allow that and some states that don't. It's kind of weird that we live in the same country, but it is what it is, I guess.
It's actually illegal in Croatia, but, and personally, I don't smoke weed.
Sure.
I go too slow when I do it, so.
Well, to each their own, right?
Me. Yeah, but when people enjoy it, I have nothing against it, so,
Sure. And somebody's asking about anything about muscle physical training. Like, say, I'm guessing you start out with like a skinny guy. Are you able to do like weight training to buff up or anything like that?
Yeah, that's the thing right now. The game Metabolism that's already active, it counts everything from muscle fibers and, if you exercise too much, you're going to lose weight. If you run around with too much gear, and you're going to burn your calories real fast, and you're
Sure.
going to lose some fat, etc. But metabolism as it is doesn't reflect those changes enough, at least not in the way we would like it to. So metabolism changes that are coming, hopefully with the 0.8 patch, are going to bring some, visual changes as well to those parts of the gameplay. So the aim is to have people start with, I don't know, maybe a fat character. If they run around, if they exercise much, etc., they're going to lose fat and they're going to develop muscles. Also, if you die, you won't lose your character progression in a way that you're going to, be reversed back to your fat character at the beginning.
Yeah, that would be kind of silly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, the explanation behind that is that you have your clone somewhere on the island in the underground facilities of Tech 1. So that clone becomes active when the person dies. He keeps all your memories, all your info, all your calorie intake, outtake, all your diseases, etc. Sorry, no diseases, all your information. But he loses the skill progression that he had, between the time that the clone was created and the time when the character died.
Wow. Yeah, that's
so
something I
actually-
wasn't aware of till this either.
Yeah, so you're not going to be, thrown back to the Stone Age when you lose life if you die. You're just going to lose some skill progression. That's the aim of it.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's fair, and that definitely makes sense. And then I would guess vice versa too. So if you got the guy that lost all the weight from working out, losing all the calories and all that stuff, you got a guy that just sits around all day eating potato chips or whatever other fatty food items you have in the game. That guy's gonna get fat, that kind of thing.
Yeah, his stamina is going to be depleted very fast. He won't be able to run as fast. He will get tired more quickly, and further down the line, he's probably going to develop some diseases tied to too much fat and too little exercise.
Sure.
Maybe heart condition or something like that.
Yeah, diabetes. Who knows?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately, and we also plan to remove the private parts slider that's tied to the attribute points. Some people were asking why can't I have a strong muscle guy that's also intelligent, etc. And we agree with it. Why should we limit people? So further down the line, you will be able to create something more akin to that we just described. And the extra, private part slider ain't going to play much part in attribute with distribution of the attribute points.
Sure. Well, yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of room for you guys to work up. I don't know if you're aware of the game Project Zomboid, but it's a it's a bird's eye view type game, and they've gone really in depth with the I guess perks and anti perks that you can choose before while you're creating your character. They allow you to choose your character literally to have diabetes getting into the game, or diseases, and it gives you other perks that you can use in other places. And I feel like that, the system that you guys have built upon is completely different from that, and you guys can turn some, having knowledge and information like that, you guys could build some really cool stuff into your character development. And it seems like you guys already are. So
Yeah, it's a part of the game that we're really planning on exploring to the maximum and developing. I just noticed that in the chat, maybe I said something wrong. People are thinking that 0.8 is going to be metabolism change. No, it's going to be 0.5 most likely. So
0.5.
if I said it wrong the first time, I'm deeply sorry. Just to confirm it, that there is no misunderstanding.
Yeah, so we're all clear on that, guys. Yeah, 0.5 is all that. Let's see. Will there be guided nutrition? Will there be guided nutrition and the effect the different metabolism parts have in your attributes?
Yeah, most likely yes.
Okay.
I mean, if we don't make it, someone from the community is going to make it. So.
Sure. Oh, and I guess this kind of ties exactly into what we were just saying. Convict999 says, will character always keep the nutrition and or the disease after death in the scenario you described?
No, actual diseases are probably going to be reset because it would be something too frustrating for players,
Yes.
to die and then have to play again with the disease and everything. But they will most likely keep the nutrition. So they're not going to keep the nutrition like if you go minus 10,000 calories.
Right.
But you will start with a certain minus when you respawn.
Okay. Yeah, I guess all that, kind of in line with the lore and making sense with your clone and stuff that's going to be brought in after you die.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you guys serious? Alex Trebek died? Why does everybody keep saying that in chat? Other NPCs or traders. We talked a little bit about that in the last stream, depending on the new POIs that are coming to the game. NPCs we already know and are aware are planned, but I'm not sure if there's anything outside of what we already discussed about it, though.
Currently, we have no specific details to share with you yet when it comes to NPCs. All we can say is that NPCs are planned. Also, hostile enemy AI is planned, be it just armed Tech 1 personnel or be it some extra monstrous creations that are going to be roaming around the island. But currently, I cannot disclose more. Sorry, guys.
No, that's fair. That's fair. And we're going to do more of these. This isn't the final interview ever. So, we'll talk and, as information comes out and we're allowed to talk about it, we'll do so, I think. So, And I didn't want to cut you off earlier, but we started doing the Q&A a while back, and I don't know if you were in the middle of still talking about the lore that you were explaining, or you already finished with that part of it.
Well, to be honest, I'm completely fine with the way this is going. I mean,
it's great, right?
I can continue talking about the lore, and we can break it with some questions in between.
Yes, I think that would be the best move. And also, I think that, we've been in for a little bit. A lot of you have hung tight. We got quite a few people in here. So let's say we do another key giveaway. You guys want to do another key giveaway right now? Let me know in the chat. Obviously, they're going to say yes, but let me know if you guys want to do another one right now, and then we'll do one near the end too. We got 2 more to give away, so I'm gonna message you right now, Bunny, and let you know the number. That way we can't make up anything. All right, let's do. That's a good number.
Yep.
You got it? All right. And for those of you that have followed the channel and are, subscribing and doing all that, it's absolutely amazing. I'm so sorry that I'm not able to. Usually, if you guys are in my regular stream, I shout every single person out and I talk with the chat as much as I possibly can. Right now, for obvious reasons, it's been a little hard to do. So if you guys stick around for after the interview, we're going to be playing a battle royale that any of you can join in and play with us. We want as many people as possible to play. It's going to be more fun that way. And I'll make sure to give you guys the proper recognition for that. I really appreciate it. All the support. Let's see. So, all right, I guess we're just going to do 1 through 50 again. If you guys were here at the very beginning, anybody who is a follower of the channel can win this. All you have to do is type in numbers 1 through 50. I'm thinking of a number between there. If you get it right, you got it. You get the key. And I've already messaged to Bunny, so I can't lie. Cannot tell a lie. I'm like Abraham Lincoln over here. No way! No way! Did you see that, Bunny? It's already... Somebody already won it. Somebody already won it. How the hell, Smokin', did you get that?
On the first try.
On the very first try, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, that's blowing my mind right now. Sorry, it's already gone, guys. It was the very first one. It was 23. You got to be kidding me.
Smoking, you should play the lottery, man.
He said I took a wild guess. Oh my god, it's all right, guys. We still have one more key to give away. Wow. Okay, well, I guess you get the key. And you already have Scum, dude. You stream the game, so what are you gonna do with your key, dude? I already know you. Okay, so that went a little bit quicker than the last one, obviously. The last one took a little bit of time. So you don't even have to message me. I know who you are, so I'll just make sure you get sent the key whenever we're done. Yeah, so if you guys want to get back, do you guys want to do, you know what, I'll leave it up to them. I actually have this cool little thing implemented that I can do to ask everybody. That way we don't have to all be in the chat. Just give me 1 second, guys. Bear with me. All right, yep. All right. Okay. On your screen now, you guys should be, let me see if it where it has me click it. Hold on 1 second. Okay. On your screen now, you guys can literally click on your screens. What do you guys want? Do you want more Q&A or more lore? What do you guys want to talk about next? Because if you guys want to do more Q&A, I'm not going to stop you from doing that. You guys can literally click on your screen and vote for that. And I'll let you guys decide that way. Damn, it's still 0% on. Everybody's wanting more lore, it looks like.
Well, that's fine by me.
Yeah, it probably won't work on mobile, Violet. I think it's mostly for desktop. It's still a work in progress app, so. Yeah, geez, hold on. How many clicks have we had? Let me get out of here if it's already been done. Yeah. Every single click I've had so far. You're clicking Q&A and it's not working? It's like the second time I've ever used this. We'll use it more during the Battle Royale too, because it allows me to click on, you guys to click on the map where you want me to go and things like that. I try to make my stream pretty interactive, but I mean, I don't know why Q&A. So a lot of people are saying Q&A doesn't work.
I mean, we can
screw
do
this
both,
app.
right?
Yeah, we can do both. Yeah, so screw that app if it's not going to come through.
Yeah, let's try not to disappoint anybody.
Yeah, I agree. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and stop that thing. Get that thing off here. That's weird. It was working the first time I used it. All right. Exit off that. Okay. Well, I guess, you know, it seemed like a lot of people in the beginning used the more lore, so I guess we can start there if you want, go on with a little bit more about that, and we'll stop, like you said, to ask more questions.
Yeah, sure, that's fine by me. So
cool.
I'll just start, okay? So we stopped when I mentioned that the BCU was developed for military purposes.
Yes.
To control the machinery and, you know, yeah. So as the technology developed further, first tests on animals were conducted. So actually, Tech One was trying to see if the BCU could control animals and further down the road, maybe even humans. Because when you implant a BCU to a person, potentially, you could create a perfect spy, a perfect person to infiltrate something. And further down the road, you could establish control over practically the whole world if you manage to put enough BCUs into places of power, into people who are important, that control everything. So first experiments of animals were conducted, and dead animals were found all around the island because the BCU-controlled animals would go wild after a certain time period, and they would attack anything on sight or try to remove their BCUs by hitting their heads on different surfaces. So that was practically a failure of an experiment. At the same time, Tech One started hiring the best scientists in the world and giving them good pay and an opportunity to work on something that's going to revolutionize the world as we know it. One of those scientists was a guy named Francisco from Argentina, and he's going to play a great deal in the storyline as it progresses further down the road. So Francisco was a guy that's a leading expert in neuroscience, and when he came to the island to work for the Tech One, he was convinced he's going to help humanity, that he's going to help people in need and cure people that are sick. You know, he didn't know anything about the ulterior motives behind it. A couple of incidents took place involving the BCU-controlled animals in their experimental phase and villagers, people living on the island that were not connected with the Tech One. And that's when the first signs of rebellion against the Tech One on the island started to develop. People started to spread rumors. Certain parts of the island became a no-go zone for civilians. And, you know, a lot of superstition played a big deal there. As the number of animals on the island dwindled because of the failed experiments, new animals were imported from all around the world. And this is very important from our game design view, because this gives us an opportunity to bring animals that are not, you know, part of the creation fauna onto the island. So
Sure.
in the future, you will most likely see animals that are not, you know, part of the creation standard flora and fauna on the island, but they're going to be imported from all around the world. For an example, Croatia doesn't have, you know, a lot of sharks or something like that.
Right.
But when we do bring sharks into the game, it's probably going to be something big, something not typical for the Croatian coast. There's just one of the examples.
Sure, sure. And yeah, and I do wonder, one of my biggest questions would be, so you talk about, you know, this scientist, Federico, you talk about, you know, all the animals and all the stuff that's happening behind.
Francisco.
Francisco? Oh, my God. My bad, guys. Francisco. Don't. We got it. And are we going to get any visuals of this type of stuff? Like, we don't have to, but I think it would be cool, you know, like, are we going to ever get to see Francisco?
Actually, if people investigate a bit, there's some information about Francisco already on the island. If you guys pay attention to the documents that you can find lying on the tables around the island, maybe you can find some info about Francisco. So I'm going to leave it at that for now. But
Very
Francisco
well.
is he's going to play a big part in the, you know, rebel part of the storyline.
So maybe that'll give you, at least while we're waiting on some of the stuff to come in, guys, something to look for on the island. A little bit more about Francisco. But yeah, so yeah, I know the sharks was a really big part that people were talking about too. I mean, swimming in the water and potentially getting attacked by a shark is never very fun. So
no, most likely you're going to get killed the moment you step into the water. Yeah.
But that's what the boats are for, right?
Yeah, we're going to give you boats, we're going to give you guns, we're going to give you scuba gear, and everything else is up to you.
Awesome. Okay, I think you guys, somebody says they found a story about goblins in the game. Huh.
I'm not familiar with that one, to be
yeah, maybe
honest.
Might have been a smaller part of the story. Any update on battle bears? I've never heard of that. Camo skin DLC? I don't know.
No DLCs for now. I mean, the thing we have to be focused on, you know, finishing the game, bringing the 1.0 version out, and then we can talk about, you know, some extra stuff.
Sure. And so, I mean, you guys are looking at, besides just sharks, I mean, you know, are you able to talk about any other animals that I guess really haven't been talked? I mean, we just got wolves, for those of you that haven't played in the last, you know, week or so. But besides the wolves and the sharks, is there any other animals that you guys are considering adding anytime soon?
I mean, we're open to mostly everything. If it's kind of, you know, it's not totally over the bounds.
Sure.
But if your audience has any suggestions, I'll be more than happy to hear them.
Yeah, I saw somebody. The reason I asked the question was because somebody said puma, and
Puma.
somebody said a kangaroo.
Yeah, probably not kangaroos.
Probably not kangaroos. I don't think they do
Yeah.
very well in this part of the world.
Yeah, I mean, I love kangaroos. They're like totally cool. And if you actually look at a kangaroo, the amount of muscles that animal has, it's something to be feared of, you know.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I don't think people, regard them as very dangerous animals. They're quite dangerous.
Yep, yep.
Turtles, uh, killer rats, um, mountain lions. Now, mountain lions might be fair.
Yeah, mountain lions sound really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. Snakes. I guess they mean like with
Uh,
venom.
Quite likely. I'm not sure if they're going to be, like anacondas or pythons, but probably there are going to be some poisonous snakes on the island as well.
Oh my gosh. See, that would add a level of intensity too, because then you would have to have something like an antidote or some way
Yeah.
to reduce the amount of poison.
Yeah, you would also have to stop running. You would have to calm yourself down and everything to stop the poison from reaching your heart faster.
Right. Um, improvised bicycles. I don't even know what that would. How would that
Well,
look? um,
it's it's also possible.
yeah. I mean, I guess it is possible.
Yeah.
Um, honey badger, narwhals. Can you imagine
Yeah.
seeing a narwhal?
Not really, but I'm a big fan of honey badgers. They're like my probably one of my top three animals of all time.
They're pretty cool. Honey badgers are rather interesting. I watched, I'm sure everybody's seen a little documentary about them.
Yeah, they're also insane killing machines. They're like the apex predators in the areas where they live. I think
Right.
there's like maybe one animal that's on above them on the predators list. There's some sort of eagle. But
Jeez.
other than that, honey badgers actually attack bears and wolves and everything.
And I've heard this question several times. I don't know if it's something you guys have already considered, but has there been any thought on adding VR support?
Uh, Further down the line is possible, but we're not thinking about it
There,
currently.
there's I mean, obviously it's very cool, but I feel like I could probably speak for them saying that there's a lot bigger fish to fry first to take care of,
Yeah,
and then we can get there maybe.
we're really trying to finish this year by making the game as stable as possible and to
Yeah.
give you guys as much possible content as we can.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think the stability is a big one for a lot of people. Because I mean, of course, when I've heard a lot of people that I try to play with that have issues with the fatal error, or trying to there's always been that issue where you try to create your character and you have to do it really really fast for some people because if you don't, it'll kick you out. And so things like that, I feel like I think people would rather be dealt with first before a lot of the other big changes.
yeah. That character creation screen error was actually something tied to the new Unreal Engine.
Hmm.
So it's not a bug on our side, but it's something more engine-like.
Right.
So yeah, so we actually have to wait a bit for the update on Epic's part to resolve that.
Right on. Okay. And yeah, if you want to continue with I really liked what you were talking about. So if you want to continue a little bit on that lore stuff, then I'm interested.
Yeah, just let me get a sip of water.
Go for it. Don't want you choking.
Yeah, I mean, English is not my mother tongue, so I
Sure.
deeply apologize if you guys don't understand me.
You're fine. You're
When I'm
fine.
talking. Thank you. Okay, so after some places of the island became off limits for civilians, Tech One begins to expand their territory on the island. They start buying cheap land, mainly because people are scared and they're trying to leave the island. And Tech One starts to build additional underground complexes, practically military bunkers that are built all around the island. You can see them today in the game. And about this time, they start developing the new advanced BCU unit. So that's actually the BCU/2. That's actually the BCU you can see on your prisoners today when you play the game.
Right.
And the new version of the BCU manages to completely gain control over the animal test subjects for longer periods of time. Animals completely follow orders from the BCU, enabling Tech 1 to practice targeting people on the island without any fear of being exposed. They're actually just going wild. They're testing everything. And after they became satisfied with the way the BCU was performing, they gave a green light to first tests on human subjects. So the main aim of that was possible political infiltration, assassination, and similar actions. Francisco and his department are still not completely aware of the final goal of the operation. Still believe that they're working on revolutionary cure for handicapped people based on the BCU itself and additional robotic prosthetics that they are being developed. The island itself has become a center for revolutionary new technologies that could change the world as we know it. At the same time, handicapped people are voluntarily signing up as test subjects, convinced that they will be able to walk again, use their hands, etc. And what the Tech 1 is actually doing is giving them prosthetics, advanced robotics prosthetics, and implanting the BCUs in the back of their heads. So that gives us an opportunity from the game designer point of view to implement puppets that have certain advantages against the players. So as I already mentioned in the last interview, bionic legs that would enable some puppets to run faster or maybe jump higher than the player.
Wow.
You can also expect puppets that have a certain robotics prosthetics instead of their hands that will maybe do some extra damage, maybe cut the player, maybe tase them or something like that.
Sure.
So actually, that's the bottom line there. You can expect all sorts of new versions of puppets to be implemented into the game, not just ordinary ones.
Well, what I would want to ask when you talk about that, the first thing that pops into my head is that last conversation we had about the hospital, where you guys are going to have the prosthetic limbs and things like that too. Now, when we chop up a puppet, there's the different body parts that show up. Is their prosthetic limb going to be something you guys are considering to actually be gathered whenever you chop up a puppet with that has those prosthetic limbs on?
You're probably going to find parts, but you're not going to find a perfectly functioning limb. Also,
Sure.
if you want to, upgrade your player character with a prosthetic limb, you have to have the high enough medical skill, and you're also probably going to have a good hacking skill or something like that to bypass the machinery that's locked under security codes in the hospital building.
Right. And so is that where you would actually, I don't know if you're even able to tell me this yet, but is that where you would find Zed prosthetic limbs? Is in that actual hospital? Is that like one of the main locations?
Yes, among other places, yes. That's going to be the main location, but it's also going to be pretty well guarded, and it's going to be quite risky to get in there.
And if the prosthetic limbs on the puppets will help them jump higher, run faster, do more damage with their hands, if we install those type of things on our character, will it potentially have some similar effects?
Similar effects, but not as extreme.
Which is fair.
Keep it,
Yes.
we have to keep it a bit more realistic.
Yep.
So you're not gonna run faster, but you're not gonna tire as quickly if you
Right.
get prosthetic legs.
Which is huge already, because
Yeah.
Getting tired is something that does happen to a lot of people, especially if you have a larger character. All right.
It's a good advantage to have.
Yes. And well, I mean, is the plan for it to be just used as an advantage, or is the prosthetic limbs potentially for some players a necessity due to whatever scenario?
I wouldn't say it's a necessity. You'll be completely able to play without them. They're actually going to have their pluses and minuses, pros and cons. So you're probably not going to tire as quickly if you have a prosthetic legs, robotic
Right.
legs active. But you're probably going to activate far more alarms when you go into a high security area, or mainly maybe some people from the rebel side of the storyline won't do business with you if they see you're not human enough. If you get what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you're gonna have to balance it out.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, because, and we're going to be able to choose those kind of things depending on our actions. I always wonder when we talk about different things that'll affect different factions, are we going to be aware of those, things that we might do that the other, like one faction might not like, or are we going to kind of just have to figure that out?
You're going to be aware most of the time.
Okay.
Not every time, but most of the time, yes. Especially if you're doing story missions, I mean, you're not exactly going to see where it leads, but you're going to get a hunch where it's leading. So
Sure.
you
That makes
you really
sense.
don't know. You don't want to piss some people on the island. And
And
at the same time, you're also going to be able to do some missions that are going to affect the island as a whole. So other people on the island are going to be aware that someone has accomplished something on their storyline.
really, and so will it have an effect to where it's like a permanent change to a server, or is it like more of a temporary or a change that isn't big enough to really, completely change the way everybody's going to have to play on the server?
It's not going to be a permanent change, but it's going to change the way something is going to. It's going to change the balance of power on the server for a time being. Let's put it that way.
Sure. Okay. That's still amazing. I mean, that sounds really really cool, and I, obviously can't wait to hear more once we have more information on that. But yeah, I mean, and this is all this lore that we're already talking about anyway. This is all stuff that's going to be leading into these points of interest and things that I'm guessing are going to be coming with the update as well.
I saw someone ask that if prosthetics are coming in 0.5. No, they're going to come later in
Yeah.
development. Yeah, it's a really big bite from our side, so we really
Right.
have to be careful with it, and we have to take time to develop it.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot that goes into that programming wise, and making sure everything's optimized correctly. So
Yeah, yeah. Also, there's a lot of balancing that needs to be done.
yeah,
Especially, yeah, we're trying to implement the core systems first. So metabolism diseases. We're gonna try to lay the foundation for the game first, and we're gonna do a little bit of balancing to make the whole gameplay experience more enjoyable. And after we do rebalance some things and implement rework features, then we're going to continue building upon them. So you can expect prosthetics probably after we implement the new medical skill, the hacking skill, and the rework metabolism.
okay. And that's actually a really good question right there too. I should ask that as well. So they're asking, is there a roadmap of 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, etc.? Are you guys planning on releasing a roadmap at any point?
We do not have a officially released roadmap for the time being.
Sure.
We will see what can be done, but as I mentioned before, game development is not linear.
Right.
And as we're working on so many systems at the same time, and we're trying to balance everything out to incorporate your suggestions and feedback, it's really hard to make a definitive roadmap and to stick to it.
That's fair.
We're
You guys want us to know what's going on, but you also don't want to make empty promises.
Yeah, but at
That's
the same
fair.
time, we also understand that it's hard to put faith in a game if you don't have if you don't see where things are going to go. Maybe someone's thinking, oh, okay, that's not the same game I paid money for. It changed too much over the course of development, etc. So we're going to make sure to stay as open and as direct with you guys as possible. We're going to conduct countless interviews more, and we're going to update you regularly on the things we're working on. So that's going to be our kind of a substitute for our official roadmap.
Awesome. So I mean, yeah, and it's not just me. There are other people that are doing interviews and are involved with this game's development. I want to obviously be as involved as I possibly can. I'm very interested to see where this game is going to go, playing it myself. So I mean, if you guys want more of this, obviously I'm interested in giving it as much as I can, as long as there's new developments. I don't want to just give you guys interviews if we don't really have anything to talk about. But obviously, as you guys are seeing in this one, there's quite a bit that we have to talk about that's coming in new features to the game.
I mean, this is obviously not our last interview. We're going to have more of them in the future. So
right. And somebody's asking a little bit. Okay, so my question is how fishing will work via mini game, and will things like water temperature, weather, fishing bait or tackle, rod type, any of that stuff will matter. It's Mr. Feudal says he's a fisherman, so.
Oh, Mr. Fuel, yeah, if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he's our fellow streamer as well.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, nice to have you here. So I think it's most likely going to be a mini game. but it's not set in stone. It could change. You'd have to ask Tom about it. He's designing it. And yeah, the type of bait, the type of water you're fishing in is also going to affect everything. Obviously, you're not going to have the same fish in rivers and lakes and in the sea, etc. Also, you won't catch same fish if you're fishing close to the coast and somewhere, further away.
And yeah, from watching the Pathfinder, well, I guess I don't know if it was interview, but more of like a informative video that he had talking with one of you guys about it. Sounds like you guys have quite a few fish planned, actually.
Yes, it's insane. I mean,
Yeah.
Tomislav is actually from the continental part of Croatia, and I'm from the coast. And we're always teasing each other about our, different cultures, not so extreme, but I'm a coastal guy, he's a continental guy, and it's ironic that he's designing the old fishing segment and all the types of fishes, and I'm teasing him about them all the time.
Yeah, and he said, "Cool, I'll pester Tomislav about it." Feudal said, "So
yeah, do it, and please say hello to Tomislav from me, and
Yeah.
please tell him I sent you."
One of my biggest questions, because I don't know if it's been asked yet, is a lot of what we're talking about is major on the PvE side of it, which a massive amount of the player base is big on the PvE, and can we get more content, more missions, NPCs, things like that to come to the game. But also, I think that one of the things that sets you guys the most apart from the other any of the survival games that I've played is the events. The event section where you guys are able to do, let's say you're just, chopping some wood, you're building a base, and you're getting a little bored with doing that. So you're like, you know what? I'm going to hop in an event and play some PvP right now. I don't have to go look for anybody. I'll just pop right in and do it right then and there. And that to me it's a nice change of pace whenever a player wants to do it. So do you guys have any ideas or anything that you're pushing more forward on that sector of this?
Yeah, first thing, the events as they are right now are probably going to be changed a lot, because the first thing you notice when you join the events is that different character builds do not perform as well in the survival part and in events. If you put maximum skill into sniping or rifles, you're going to perform better in events, but you're probably going to suck in the survival part, since when you start out, you're probably going to have lower survival skill or something like that. You won't be able to craft as much, necessities. So further down the line, we're going to try to rebalance everything out to make it more fair to everyone who joins events to stand the same chance of winning it.
Yes.
And to avoid having people build, just characters that are going to participate in events and not going to play the survival part. At the same time, as we talked internally about it, we're not big fans of, locking certain parts of the map where the event is happening to other
Right.
players. For instance, if someone is, in a town and they get a information that event is going to happen there in like 5 or 10 minutes, they're probably going to leave the premises to avoid getting killed by players participating in the event. So we're probably going to move the events to places outside of the island. They're going to
That's
have separate
awesome.
instances, most likely.
That's what I was going to ask. Okay, that was huge because so you guys would potentially be designing, and you're a level designer, so I guess this would be something that you would be working on yourself, is designing actual outside maps, maybe even maps that would be based off of the lore that we've been talking about would be probably really cool.
Yes, I agree, and we're going to try to design the maps in a way that is not like that they're balanced. If you have a team deathmatch map, it's going to be balanced from both sides. It's probably going to be symmetric. And we're going to add barricades inside and corridors and everything. If you play the Unreal tournament, the original one,
Yeah.
that came out in like 2000,
Yes.
something
Yes.
similar to that. Yeah, maps are going to be something more similar to that.
Okay.
Sort of,
Okay.
fast esports type of arenas, and not something like a steep hill.
Yeah, I really think that would be cool, because the only map that I've really noticed is kind of missing from the events section is there's some that are rather small, but one that's like a really decently small map to where you can just just shotgun it out or whatever you want to do, something like that, so you can just nonstop be seeing players and get into some really quick PvP if you're in the mood for it.
Exactly, adrenaline filled and fast
Yeah.
and dynamic. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, and this for me, I personally am a more PvE player. I'm super way more excited about the new content, the NPCs, the map, and all the other animals and all that stuff that's coming to the game. But as I think most of you, even if you're a PvE player, every now and then it is fun to get into a match with your buddies on events. So I'd really like to see more done with it because, like I said once again, besides just liking to get into it, it's one of the things that other survival games do not have because you play DayZ, you play other survival games where there are going to be PvP moments. If you've never had an opportunity to, let's say you're a newer player and you've never had an opportunity to get into actual combat and you don't understand how the actual combat mechanics and systems work, you're going to get marked every single time. You're going to get mauled. So when you guys have your little events mode, a new player can hop into those at any time, and he can go back and forth with players until he's pretty comfortable with the combat systems of the game, and then he's ready to go in the real scenario when you go back to the real map. So
Exactly.
that's awesome.
Events are supposed to be something that's going to take your mind off survival parts and let you, just relax a bit. And
Yeah.
also, as you mentioned, to train people, to boost their reflexes and to know what to expect in the game, to try out different guns, maybe different grenades, etc., and maybe some teamwork as well.
Absolutely. Well, cool. I guess if you want to go, we kind of answered a little bit throughout, the last little section that we did. So if you want to continue going, I'm definitely interested to hear more about the lore.
If you're okay with it, we can do a quick questions and answers part with the chat,
Sure.
and then we can continue with the lore. That's
Yep.
okay.
Do you have any that you saw that you'd like to answer?
I'm going through them.
There's a lot.
Well, the map. Badoodle asked if the maps are going to look like arcade FPS maps. Yeah, something more similar to that. But they're not going to have, they're still going to be plausible in real world, but they're going to reflect the similar symmetry.
Are you talking about kind of like the lane system? Like how Call of Duty has they have like that 3-lane system that they use every time in every map that they have, to where basically players are going to be heading down these specific lanes, and that's where the combat usually happens.
I mean, you're probably going to have some parts of the map that are going to be more obvious routes,
Sure.
but we're
Sure.
not going to limit it in any way. We're just
Good.
going to try to rebalance it as much as possible to make it fair for both sides.
Yeah.
And in between, we're going to give you guys as much options as possible.
And I guess before you get to the next question, before I forget, so in that, besides the maps, which is awesome that you guys are considering moving outside of the current way we have it set up, where you go to somewhere that's already on the main map. Are you guys considering any other new game modes for events?
Yeah, sure. I can see why not. If you guys have any suggestions, we'll be happy to hear them.
Sure, because I really like Cargo Assault. I think it's really cool because it has a search and destroy-esque vibe, in comparison to Call of Duty, which is what the only one that I can compare to that. But I think that there's other opportunities when it comes to your guys' events for other game modes people could try, and I think it'd be really fun to give people a crack at different types.
Yeah, I completely agree, especially when we implement new systems like ships in the game, etc.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah. We can expand on that part as well very easily.
Yeah, I guess I didn't even think about that. So you guys would potentially consider having a map that has whether it's fully water based or somewhat water based, a map like that in an event.
I mean, yeah, we're open to it. Why not? If it
Very
sounds
cool.
fun, if it works, yeah, sure. Also, we can maybe implement an oil rig as a map, or maybe
Yeah,
a military ship in the middle of the ocean that's gonna serve as a special place for the event or something like that.
or a sea fortress, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
We
among
talked a
other
bit about
things.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's see. We got any more in there? Kayaks and limpet mines. So you guys have already talked kind of a bit about something like kayaks, right? Or I mean, you can build your own boat, so that's a raft.
Yeah, that's most definitely planned and it's gonna be in the game.
Very cool. Will there be more teamwork involved in the future where you might have to rely on the skill of another player to, let's say, fix a certain aspect of your car that's broken that you don't have the skill for to fix, to give the incentive to not kill on sight, but to somehow work together? And I think that you guys already have kind of implemented that. I mean, there's definitely things that, you know, if you're not an advanced lockpicker, you're going to need one to get into certain areas or, you know, certain lockpicking situations. But I mean, I guess I think they're saying, are you going to get more in depth with that?
Yes, most likely yes, because as it is right now, some skills in the game are far more valuable than others. And as we continue developing the game, we're going to try to balance things out a bit. So some mini games that are implemented or are going to get implemented soon will maybe correspond to a certain skill for a certain time, but in the future they're probably going to be rebalanced and they're going to be tied up to a different skill set. The idea is to, we don't want to, limit the players in a way they can develop their characters. The idea is to, start with a certain type of character, and if you manage to survive for a real long time, and if you real careful and real good at playing the game, you will be able to reach max skill points in everything. But it's going to take an insane amount of work, insane amount of time, and most likely it will never happen. It will be possible, but most likely it will never happen.
Sure.
So, yeah, you will be dependent on your teammates further down the road. Some people are going to be great at hacking skills, some are going to be great at medical skill, others are going to be great cooks, etc. All of those skill sets are going to have something tied to them. They're going to buff your squad, are going to let your squad access certain points of map that are going to be locked for other people, etc.
Ooh, that popped up. That was good about the events. Will there be ever be weapon loadouts? So basically, like, you already know what you like to select. You can go and select on the menu that you guys currently have, but will there be an option to make like your own custom that every time you get in, you can click that, you know, custom built loadout?
Yes, most likely. And also you'll be able to choose your own add-ons for your weapons before joining the game. Currently it's a bit basic, but further down the road, we're most likely going to implement something like that.
Awesome. What will happen in the future with fame points? Will the person with the most fame ever get any rewards or anything like that planned?
Yes, fame points are not going to be the only currency in the game. The thing I have to say right now, and I can't stress enough, there ain't going to be pay to win ever in this game. So all the currencies in the game are going to be, something that players are going to earn by playing the game. And they're going to serve different things. Fame points are most likely not going to be tied to base building or something like that in any way, but they're going to be tied to your real life sponsors. So the premise of the game is a game show. So if you're on the island, if you manage to survive for a real long time, you're probably going to have people back home watching you stay alive on the island. They like you as a character. They like what you're doing on the island, and they're probably going to, spend some money to give Tech One the possibility to drop you some extra gears or reward you in a way if you reach certain fame points amount.
That's super cool. I like that. You know, because you know what it almost reminds me of a little bit is one. It reminds me of Gamer. I don't know if you've seen that, but your game's obviously very similar to Gamer, which is the Gerard Butler movie from a while ago. Where basically in that though, people on the outside pick an inmate and they control them like a video game, like a virtual reality video game. They have a similar to the BCU. They have something in their head that basically all of their limbs and body parts are controlled by the person, and then they just go and kill each other, which is cool. But I like the idea of being the outside viewers getting to maybe even cheer you or watch you. But I would say that's probably more in relation to the movie Condemned, which is, I don't know if you've seen that one either, but that one is.
I didn't.
What's that?
I didn't. Sorry, but
Oh,
care to elaborate?
Condemned, I would watch. I would say
Okay.
you should watch that movie. It's not the best movie of all time, but there's prisoners, inmates, there's a TV show, and they drop them all on the island and have them survive. So I don't know any movie ever that's the closer to your guys' game at all. So
Okay. I'm gonna watch it most definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, it's work. I mean, it's Stone Cold Steve Austin from the WWE, if you remember him.
Yeah, he's a cool guy, and
He's a cool dude.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he's a big muscle guy, right?
Yes. Yeah. He's very
Yeah,
big.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I really, really like the idea that you just mentioned. Yeah, the viewers outside getting to cheer on people, and I definitely would like to see that fleshed out more and see what you guys could do with that. Another part
Yeah.
that popped into my head. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. What'd you say?
Just a little thing that I wanted to say. The viewers outside don't necessarily have to be, like family people that are like sympathizing with you, and they would like to see you, go through your hardships and actually survive on the island. They might as well be, rich psychopaths. They're watching
Yes,
you kill other people. They enjoy it, and they're just gonna pay for more bloody entertainment. So they're gonna send you some weapons.
I like that. Yeah, that's what I was hoping you meant. Okay, good. And what I would also like to mention is, back again one more time to the events is I think having that you guys are building that dirt track point of interest. If there was
Mhm.
an option to do a race event or something like that, I think would
Yes.
be really cool.
Yes, most likely, yes. It's going to serve as a place where role-playing people could, hold races. At the same time, we most likely will be able to host an event there as well.
Right. I was going to say, especially coming from your guys' previous games background.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Also, I would like to mention a great suggestion that came out on the forums recently. Someone suggested that every character, when they start the game, have a bucket list of things that they need to do on the island. And that's probably going to be something that we're going to implement further down the road into the game as well. So when you create a character, you're going to be assigned a certain amount of missions that you're going to have to do to, to make your character fulfill something and be rewarded. It's going to make, every character start a fresh one and different a bit.
Absolutely. Yeah, that sounds really cool. Yeah, especially if they're different. Yeah. So I mean, because that could be, just even being the same person and having different playthroughs on different servers or whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
That would, it would definitely make gameplay very fresh when it comes to stories and things like that. Movie Cube. Oh yeah, J Moth. The kill box does remind. It reminds me of the movie Cube too. I think it was 1997. Yeah, that's actually a good movie.
That's a great movie. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what it reminds me of. Scum Death Race 2000. Are we potentially getting chainsaws before 0.5?
Potentially, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's as much as I can say right now.
that's fair. That's fair.
I mean, keep your eyes on Tom's Twitter. He's probably going to leak something soon.
Somebody asks, so when can we play as puppets? Which I am so sorry, because I don't know I don't think we're ever going to be able to play as puppets, right?
Yeah, it's not something we're actually thinking about right now.
Okay.
It's possible that further down the road we could implement some game modes like special events where you could play as a puppet, but it's not something really important right now. It's not a priority. What we
Right.
will do, most likely in the future, is when a player dies, he gets reanimated as a puppet. So instead of a corpse on the ground, you're probably going to find a puppet with all your stuff on it roaming around, and you're going to have to kill it before looting your stuff.
That's that's fair. And what I was gonna say is, the reason I was saying sorry is because what I'd actually like to take that question to now is as soon as you said it, what pops into my head is yet another event option, which is have you guys considered doing anything with puppets where players could actually like team up like maybe 2, 3, 4 people in an event and maybe fight off waves of puppets or have some sort of player against puppet type scenario?
Yes, most likely, because me personally, I'm a big fan of the Left 4 Dead franchise, and the
Yes.
whole the game premise and the teamwork and the adrenaline was like insane, and really liked it. And I would be very, very happy if we managed to implement something similar into our game as well.
Awesome.
That game would be a pretty good inspiration.
Yeah, well, I like that. Yeah, Left 4 Dead was obviously a great time, especially being able to play as the zombies themselves too, and get to destroy the humans. It made it a good time.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, I know we never got the 3, man. I was really hoping we were gonna get Left 4 Dead 3 at some point, but that it hadn't happened. I don't know if it's still in the works, but
I mean, same thing as Half-Life 3. We can wait and hope. That's all
Yeah.
we can do.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
about it. Let's see. Are we getting a revolver at any point?
Not so soon. We do plan on adding revolvers, but revolver is so unique in the way that it's reloaded, and it has unique animations. It requires a really, really, really big, effort from our animators' side, and they just don't have the time at the moment. They're dealing with the priority stuff first, and if they manage to sort it out, and we manage to get everything on time, then we can start working on the revolvers as well. They are definitely planned for implementation somewhere down the line, but nothing too soon, to be honest.
And Badoodle says some cool voice dialogues, like that come from the TV show's director that everyone in the prison can hear. For example, one special dialogue for the most famous prisoner, or one for the prisoner who got the most kills. That's kind of cool, actually.
Yes, I agree. It will most likely be implemented. Our song guy already has a lot of ideas tied to to things similar that you mentioned, and yeah, it's going to be a reality most likely.
Awesome, awesome. Well, we definitely like to hear that. Yeah, it would be cool to have little announcements, maybe even do for like events if something happened. If you hear like a big voice over the intercom, kind of like the Hunger Games. They do that on there. Just a
Yeah,
giant voice. Yeah. And any more historical guns like the STG-44 or other World War II type weapons?
yes, most likely yes. We're probably going to implement also some German weaponry from the World War II, etc. It's the arsenal in the game is just going to get bigger, from the explosive stuff, RPGs, grenades, AMP grenades, revolvers, new
C4.
types of guns, among other things. Yeah,
Yeah, among other things.
we're just scratch the surface when it comes to weapons. So
Well,
what we
servers.
also the thing that we're trying to do, it will probably take some time to implement it, but we're really really keen on doing it, is to rebalance the loot as it is. Currently, the loot is all over the place, and sometimes when people, especially on the private servers, change the default settings, it could result in some, extreme results that are not really good for the game. So we're probably gonna, when you find a gun in the game, you can find the gun in one place, then you can find the magazine in the other place, and you have to find the ammo in the third place, and
Yep.
also the ammo can be, three different types and everything. It's a lot of stuff for new players to take, and sometimes it's too irritating to have, like a whole hiking backpack full of weapons and ammos, and nothing's compatible, and you have like
Yeah.
5 different guns and 10 different types of ammo and magazines, and you can't use anything.
Sure.
So in the future, yeah, in the future, you're probably going to be able to find guns that already have magazines and a couple bullets in them.
Not only that, but I did like when I don't know if you guys on in the chat saw Ray Kid's video that he just did about the kill box, but after watching that, I was really impressed that sometimes when you go search a bunker, you may search it and it hasn't even been looted, but you don't really find not anything really useful, or not always think
Mhm.
it just depends on the spawn. And
Sure.
he says, when you go to the kill box now, apparently there will be rooms that you will be able to either hack or lockpick or something of that nature, and they will be guaranteed to have
Yes.
good loot in them.
Yes. Killbox are first place of interest, where you will be guaranteed to find loot if if you manage to pull off the effort. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be very, really hard,
Yeah,
but you will be rewarded in the end.
awesome, awesome. And I'm gonna try to go back a little bit. I don't want to miss questions. I feel like I've seen this one asked a few times, but they said, "Will servers get RCO in for the server owners anytime soon or in the future?"
Uh, I'm not familiar with the term, to be
Yeah,
honest.
I've seen that before. Can you please elaborate? If you want to ask the question again, and I'll make sure that it gets asked. Um, do they plan on creating an items delivery system for PvP focused servers? Hmm.
I mean, some servers already have like
Yeah.
little admin drones that fly around and give packages away. Yes, we will most likely incorporate something lore-wise and tied to the game into official service as well.
Any waterproof trousers planned?
Yes, waterproof gear. Yes, most likely, because we're going to have the whole set of scuba diving gear and everything. So
Yep.
you can expect some waterproof trousers as well. Most you will maybe even find some waterproof backpacks in the game as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, obviously, if we're gonna be doing scuba, like wetsuits would be imperative. So that would make sense.
So yeah.
Will the interiors of your homes or your houses be more varied in the future?
We certainly hope so. Currently, Scum is such a large project, and some assets need to be reused at certain places. But we do plan on, creating more variation. And the good example is the big city. If you remember how it was before, and right now it went to a complete change. And I think the atmosphere over there is much better right now. We're planning on, doing similar things to the whole island over a course of time. So yeah, you'll most likely see more variations in the future.
Good. So he said RCO win is like a word for like a word for server settings to edit. Also, those servers pay one guy like $50 USD a month to have that little flying drone. Oh, okay. I've actually heard that before. So that's why some servers have and some servers don't.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to like paying, we really do not support people, taking money from you guys.
Right.
It's okay if it's voluntarily donations to something like that, but deliberately trying to get money out of you guys for something like that, we're not really happy with that, to be honest.
Right. But I mean, there's not really anything you guys can do, is there?
I mean, we can force a terms of service agreement.
Because I've heard
somewhere in
that
the future.
actually. Because I mean, I would maybe write that down because I've actually heard that quite a bit. Is a lot of servers used to have the drone that would bring the packages and bring the items to players, but the guy who runs it or has the programming for it, he went from charging like $1 or $2 or something simple like that. I can't. People probably know more than I do, but now he charges like $50 a month, so nobody's able to do it, or not as many people.
It's not something we endorse or are happy with it in any kind of way. So in the end, if that continues to happen, we're probably going to ban the drone,
Okay.
and we're probably going to develop our own, and we're going to give you guys for free. So
Well, that would be great. I think that's kind of what they're asking. I think that having something that we could have for free, not so and he says it's $100 a year to $50 a month. Okay, well, yeah. I mean, as you were hearing Bunny talk about here, that's something they're considering bringing to the game if you guys want it. So,
I mean, not something that's going to be on official servers, but it's
sure.
something that we're going to enable private servers to toggle on and off or use it as they please. And it's, as I mentioned before, it's okay if the payments that are made are donations. If there's something that people are not forced to do, but there's something they're doing it to support the guy that's making the bot. But demanding payments to use it is, that's not okay with us, to be honest. We don't want
Yeah.
you guys to spend insane amounts of cash on something like that. We're gonna make it from our side for free if we have to.
Awesome. And yeah, as long as it's an option. And they said RCON is short for remote console. So that's what they're wondering, is remote console going to be coming to server owners?
To be honest, I do not know. It's probably
Yeah.
something we have to discuss with the server, with the companies that are renting the servers. So G-Porter and Nitrado.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. How can cheaters be reported without kill notifications when you die?
If you suspect a cheater on your server, you can contact any of the developers over our official Steam forum or our official Discord channel. And we will go through the logs on the server, and we're going to see if there's any foul play there, and we're going to ban people if we need to.
Fair enough. Will the distance you hear gunshots ever change?
Oh, I actually have our lead sound designer here. I'm going to ask him. Kalle, is the distance in which the gunshots are heard going to be increased?
No, not at this point, because it's on 1 kilometer at this point, but still it dims down if it's loud environment. So basically, if it's raining, if it's windy, you're gonna hear it to, I don't know, 800 meters, 700 meters. But if it's perfect weather, you're gonna hear it in 1 kilometer.
Sure.
But would be nice to increase, but we got to ask the optimization people.
Yeah. You know,
Goes
yeah,
around the
there's
block. Yeah.
Yeah, everything boils down to the optimizing part, you know.
Yeah.
There's
Optimization
some-
should always come first and foremost.
Yeah, we have to keep in mind that people primarily want relaxed and enjoyable gaming experience without much stutters and performance drops. At the same time, we have to balance between implementing new features that are going to blow someone's mind when they see them, and not to decrease the performance overall for everyone.
Sure.
So yeah, it's a razor edge that we're balancing on, but we're going to do our best to bring as much as possible to you guys.
Awesome. And yeah, if you want to get back to your lore, we can do that too.
Oh, I don't know where I start.
I don't either. we kind of went off on a long tangent that time. Geez, what we were talking. I'm pretty sure the last thing we talked about was the shark, and we were talking about bringing in the different animals.
Oh, yeah. About the same time after the experiments on people on the animals were deemed a success, Tech One started to experiment on people, handicapped people, as I already mentioned, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So first, people are being implemented with the BCUs in their heads and with the mechanized prosthetics. So first test was a complete disaster when it comes to people, and Francisco and his team witnessed people going completely crazy with the BCU in their heads, attacking nearby civilians and scientists. And the first test subjects are being gunned down as there is no way of calming them down. Even the use of AMP grenades is proposed, but it's quickly turned down because of possible damage to the Tech One computers and important data. In the end, this results in countless deaths among the Tech One personnel as well. So Francisco and his team protest in front of the higher-ups about the test, and they're being quickly shut down and told to keep quiet and continue with the tests no matter what. So over the course of time, some people from his team, and Francisco as well, they leave the Tech One base under the cover of the night and they hide somewhere on the island. People on the island are already sick of the Tech One and they see what's happening there. Offer them shelter, and that's the first part of the rebel phase on the island. Officially, we have the rebel base established on the island, and opposition to Tech One is starting to increase.
My question for that would be, if I could just stop you for a moment, would be if so these are going to be story missions that we're possibly going to be a part of, which you have the factions of the rebels, the rebellion, and Tech One. So and changes will be made during whatever your progression through the story or things like that are that are noticeable to other players. So would that have anything to do with maybe is there any patrols or the amount of different factions that there are? Like, so what I mean by that is there might be NPC rebels and NPC Tech One combatants, and would you see more or less of either side depending on how the story missions are going? You see what I'm saying?
Yes, I understand what you're saying. I think it would more be in the terms of seeing more influence of one side at a certain part of the island.
Okay.
So for instance, you'll maybe see increased Tech One convoys at a certain sector for the time being, or you maybe see lower prices for the rebel part. Rebel shopkeepers in a certain part of the island if a player managed to complete the important mission of that story part.
Very well.
Okay, so at the same time as Francisco and his team joined the rebel forces and managed to create the first stable resistance on the island, Tech One managed to create a stable version of the BCU /2, and it's capable of controlling human hosts without problems for unlimited periods of time. There's no more, aggression, no more berserk going with patients, and everything is controlled by Dina, the AI. People on the island are slowly being dragged from their homes and forcefully implemented with the BCU chips. And that's just the start of the Tech One's hegemony on the island, and they plan to expand it to the whole world over a certain time period. Sentries and various other mechanized weapons are being revealed in the weapons factory, and they serve as a new means of security for important locations. Or sentries are BCU controlled from the inside, and they thus differentiate between friends or foes on site. Political opponents, a lot of protesters, are labeled as criminals and are sent to prisons thanks to military intervention and corrupt government. And that's when the first season of the show is announced. It's going to take place on the island where Tech One has created a completely controlled environment. When we say completely controlled environment, we're also talking about weather conditions as well. So you can expect things to change drastically or the story missions. So for example, Tech One can influence, wind on the island. They can influence the temperatures at certain points of the island. They can influence pretty much everything, pressure as well. So some missions that you're going to be doing are going to take place with special conditions active.
Wow. Okay. So like, what kind of special? If you're able to tell us anything about those special conditions, what might we expect?
I cannot disclose at this
That's
time.
fair.
Sorry.
That's fair. Okay. No problem. No problem. You know I gotta ask. So okay.
Yeah, completely fair. But Tom's gonna probably shoot me in the head if I give up too much.
We're good. We're good. Okay. So that's cool. I mean, obviously, I'm pretty excited to see how weather will affect gameplay, and I think that that's going to be a interesting part as well. I mean, if weather's going to affect gameplay, besides the fact of just being able to travel differently through it, I imagine if when it starts to get rain, you get rained on, or it gets colder out, it's going to affect your temperatures and things like that, right?
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
in certain parts of the island, I mean, we already have hypothermia active. So if you're
Sure.
carrying too much clothes and moving too much around, your body's gonna heat, and you're gonna have to take off your clothes to avoid some brain damage, possibly a coma. At the same time, if you're gonna move around cooler parts of the island without being dressed too much, you're probably gonna get hypothermia. So you're probably going to get cold, you're going to move slower, you're going to breathe slower. And after a certain period of time, if you're not warmed up enough, or if you don't find shelter, you're probably going to collapse.
Very well. Have you guys considered doing anything like being able to carry unconscious players?
Yes, that's also planned for the implementation.
Awesome.
It's going to be tricky because of the server sync and everything, but we're working on it. Yes.
Okay. Good deal. Yeah, I mean, if you want, go ahead and keep going.
I'm near the end of the lore part that we're going to discuss tonight. So the story goes that Tech One has complete support from the military and from the corrupt governments all around the world. The first season of the show was a complete success, record views and ratings. People are glued to their screens, and they completely forget about their day-to-day problems and day-to-day frustrations and everything. So it's just like usual when we talk about global control, we always talk about how are you going to control masses of people. The answer is simple: media is the best terms of control for people.
Yeah.
So at the same time, when you have people that are that see what is happening, and they're trying to tell everybody that shady stuff is in the background, the people on top are going to try to silence those people. And that's why people from people that are politically opposed to Tech One and the government, and that are trying to shed some light on the shady stuff that's happening, are being labeled criminals. They're being sent to prisons, and over a course of time, they're being shipped on the island to participate in the bloody TV show that's being broadcasted all around the world. Why? Because when people see the orange suits, and when they see prisoners, criminals, most people don't feel empathy towards them. They think they're animals. I mean, if you're in prison and if you're, labeled as a criminal, most people are going to be convinced that you did some shady stuff, that you did bad things, and they're not going to trust you in any way. So that's a great way for Tech One and corrupt governments to, silence people and to destroy the political opposition as well.
Sure. I think that might be really cool along the lines of the story. If you guys had some sort of mission or some sort of interaction where you see the prisoners, or you're given the option to try to broadcast or try to reveal in some way to the outside public what is going on. I don't know if it's something you guys have already considered, but what's going on in here. But
The main mission, if you're the main mission of a standard prisoner of the island, is to try and escape from the island. Obviously, over the course of time, that mission is going to change based on the prisoner. Maybe he's really good at killing other people. Maybe he's getting a lot of things from their sponsors, and maybe he's feeling better on the island than he's feeling in the outside world. So he's probably going to join up with Tech One, get some privileges, and he's probably going to be protected to a certain degree, have access to certain stuff other people don't have to.
yep.
And he's probably going to support the whole ordeal that's happening. Other people are going to try to return to their families and to escape. So that's where the story missions are going to differentiate based on which side you're going to side with.
And something I've considered, I mean, obviously, I'm not a programmer, and I don't know what all goes into everything, but I think that if it's possible, if you guys were able to incorporate, and this sounds really advanced now that I'm thinking about it, but if you guys were able to incorporate anything where, you talk about the viewers, being able to, cheer or do whatever for their inmates that they're watching, or at least interact with them in some way. And I realized that in my current situation, as I play Scum, I am the prisoner and I have viewers that are currently watching me play Scum. If you guys are able to offer or form in some sort of, I don't know, interaction for the viewers to interact with the game, to where they can be the viewers while I'm streaming the game, if you see what I'm saying, if there's any way for interaction between us and the viewers within the game, I think that would be something that sounds really, really, really cool.
There was some discussion about that, as you mentioned. We're still not sure how we're supposed to do it and keep the balance in check, because not everyone playing the game is a streamer.
Sure.
So we have to be really, really careful about it. What we can do is maybe have specific servers that are just joined by streamers and their audiences. And maybe that would be an even playing field for the time being. It would be it would be definitely revolutionary if we managed to pull something like that off.
I completely agree. I've never heard of anything like that in the gaming world. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like Inception, yeah.
Yeah, it does. And I mean, yeah, and it might be something like you said, if even we were given some sort of minor tools on your guys' side of it that we could kind of manage ourselves on our own, servers that are made specifically for streamers. I think that, like I said, I've never heard of anything like that, and we could literally make it into Scum the show, because that's what it would be.
That would be really amazing, but we have to keep the balance a priority. So
somebody said real streamer loot. Yeah. And somebody asked, let's see, they said, is the show called Scum, or is that the name of the island?
No. The Scum is the name of the show.
Yeah. I don't even have to read the whole thing. Self-cannibalism.
Actually, we already had cannibalism in the game,
right?
But we had to remove it because it was too easy to keep your calories in check if you could eat every puppet and every player you killed.
Yeah.
So we're waiting for the game we're waiting for the new medical system and diseases to be implemented first. So you have to watch what you eat, and you have dire consequences if you decide to eat human meat. There's actually some sort of sickness that you can develop if if your diet is primarily focused on human meat. So we're going to incorporate that into the game as well.
I don't know if you're being serious, but you say, I want to be able to cut off my own arm and play with one arm. But what's funny is, I mean, I don't think you'll be able to play without an arm, but you potentially will be able to cut off your arm and replace it with a prosthetic arm, now that you mention it.
Yeah, but it won't be something that you're probably gonna, just lie down in animation. You're probably
Right.
gonna undergo a certain procedure. You're not gonna, have an animation where you cut off your hand with a machete or a sword,
Similar to the suicide screen where you pull out your BCU, I would imagine, something of that nature.
Yeah.
Okay. And will there be benefits to escaping? I don't know about that, but is escape even going to be a possibility that you guys have thought about?
I mean, if you look at it, escape would be probably game over. And is there any
Yeah.
game over in a multiplayer game? I don't think there is.
Mm-mm.
So, so we have to, really, really, really think carefully when it comes to that part. It's probably going to be escape/return to the island with your character, maybe to change things again or something to help other prisoners.
Mhm.
We're going to work on that a bit more in the future. So there's not, there's no definite answer at the moment.
What about the communication in game, different voice ranges, and working on walkie-talkies or phones?
Yeah, I mean, walkie-talkies are probably going to be tied to the, squad and name display on screen, etc. We already talked about that.
Yep.
Uh, I don't see any. You're probably going to have phones in the game, and you'll probably be able to give out your number to other players so they could call you. But I don't see any purpose aside from role playing for that part.
All right.
I mean, you can communicate over Discord, so
Yeah.
why would you need an in-game phone? Yeah?
Most people do, I think, too. So, but yeah, let's see. What I was also going to ask is, I know that we mentioned, so you basically, we've wrapped up the whole lore side of it, right?
Yeah.
What I would ask now is, we did mention a little bit about how you guys are working on achievements as well, right?
Yes. We're hoping to, implement a great deal of achievements over the course of time. So if you guys have any suggestions, what you would like to see, please share it with us. This is the right time to do it. Be it here, be it on the forums over next couple of days or something. Please go wild. Give us everything you have.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, because I don't know if you guys have really, I know some players are really intent on working towards, gaining the achievements and getting as many of them as possible. So, I mean, if you guys who have been actually paying attention to what's already in there, do you guys have any suggestions for achievements? I will say that my first thing I think of when we started talking about the achievements, something I'd like to see is not an actual achievement itself, but have achievements or discovering new locations in the game, or this many kills with this weapon, not only give you an achievement, but also give you fame points. I think that
Yes.
tying achievements into that would be really cool.
Yes, I agree. Not every achievement should be tied to fame points. I mean, we have some trivial things that shouldn't be rewarded as much. But if you look at it from the lore perspective, if you're, big fish on the island, if you manage to survive for like 30 days, which is much in the Scum's world, yeah, and it's already an achievement that we have, and not much people have managed to achieve that one.
Yep.
Yeah, so if you manage to survive for 30 days, you'll probably be popular among the audiences that are watching at home.
Yeah.
So that in itself should have a reward behind it. So yeah, you're probably gonna get a fame point reward with it.
And maybe that could even tie into what one of the people was mentioning earlier, where you get the announcement over the main comm, like, this inmate, blah 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 blah, has been alive for 30 days. Like, basically everybody's like, oh well, we need to kill him then, because he's been alive for so long. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you will be able to put bounties on other prisoners' heads, so why not?
Yeah, why not? And somebody else mentioned too, are you guys ever considering being able to place, maybe not for, I mean, it would be cool if your squad could see them too, but waypoints or like markers on your map when you're looking at your map?
Well, I'm not sure yet, to be honest. It sounds a lot of arcadey. I
Yes.
mean, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we're trying to keep at least some sort of realism in the game.
Yep.
It could be a possibility as an optional thing that private servers will be able to toggle on or off, but I don't see it coming to the official servers.
Sure. Well, I mean, the next question right after was GPSs. I mean, if you guys implemented some sort of GPS, then that might make sense in that facet.
GPS is actually incorporated in your BCU.
Well, there you go, guys.
So, so you have a BCU, you have a GPS on your head all the time.
And let's see some of the things. Oh yeah. And what I was also going to say was, I think it'd be really cool too. I don't know how you guys would actually implement this, but I don't know if it'd be too hard. But I think that it'd be really cool to get people to want to explore even more, because in my playthrough so far, I'm playing with people who've been playing for a long time. So they're kind of explaining everything to me, telling me the places that I need to go to, why I need to go there, and things like that. And there's places in the map that I've never even been to, because that they've never even brought them up. But if you guys had the that is part of the achievement or fame points or whatever to discover new locations, that might add to it. But also, if it had, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but when Fallout, when you discover like a new location, it'll kind of say the name of it in the bottom left of your screen, or like wherever you're traveling into. If you guys had some marker for places that people were discovering, I think it would add more to the lore, and I think it would be it'd be nice visually to see, and then you'd see like you increase fame points for discovering a new location. Just as a suggestion.
I agree, especially if we are going to remove the map and make it a bit more hardcore. So if as you're exploring the map, if you find the location for the first time, yeah, I can see why not. It would be a nice effect. It would be really good for players to see. They would enjoy it probably. And we will most likely tie achievements to exploring the island as well. So for example, what I'm thinking right now is maybe you'll have achievement that requires you to visit all the main cities in the game, all the big towns.
Yes.
So you're gonna have to go through the whole map and make all checkpoints count.
That's interesting. Uncover the map as you explore. So are you saying like Stimulator Dave? Like, I guess he means like darkening out the parts of the map that you haven't been to yet, and then as you explore, it shows them as locations on your map. Is that what you mean?
No, what I mean right now is that map is probably going to be an in-game item that you'll be able to find. It will be You'll be able to find the whole map, and you'll most likely be able to find pieces of a map and tie them together. The whole map is going to be a really rare item, and pieces of the map are going to be more common, and you're going to put them together, and you're going to get a map. And if you explore the island, when you have a map in your hands and everything, you're slowly going to, uncover the places that you visit are going to show on that map. You're going to see, okay, sector, I don't know, D1 has a town on it. I've been to that town. It's called that and that. More info is going to be written on that map that you carry around.
Sure. And is that like a permanent item? Like, because I would definitely wonder if I die and then that map's just gone now and I have to go find another one.
You will most likely have to find another one, but
Okay.
all the information that you already recorded is going to be recorded on it. So when you find another map, it's going to be filled with all the info. You won't lose it.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, there's been a lot of suggestions in here. I've been trying to, let me see if I can get back to them. Personal drones. Well, you kind of already have a personal drone. Somebody said getting through one day is hard. So they said chop 100,000 trees, but I mean, obviously that's an enormous amount, but chopping a certain amount of trees could be an achievement, woodcutter. I don't know. That's already a thing.
Yeah, I mean, if there are people that are masochists and want to do that to themselves, why not?
Yep. But yeah, definitely. If you guys have them, because this is basically what I'm asking right now is if you guys have any suggestions for achievements in the game that could either be applied to the current achievement system they already have, or achievements that you gain fame points from. What are some ideas that you guys think would be good to be implemented in the game? I'm trying to get back up there, but every time somebody types something new, it pops me back down. So
yeah, understandable.
Will trees always respond back, or will they ever grow?
I don't think we can implement tree growth.
Yeah.
At least when it comes to the landscape that's on the island and not the plants you're going to grow in your bases. That will probably going to take insane amounts of performance, from your computers and from the servers. So I don't think it's possible at the moment.
All right. Kill 1,000 zombies. kill one of every type of creature in the game.
That sounds good. That sounds real good.
Hunting trophies.
Yes, among other things. I agree. Good suggestion.
Yep, somebody. Yeah, he actually. Bunny mentioned that himself. Visit every town. Yeah, that'd be a good one. Is aging going to be a thing soon?
I wouldn't say aging as if you're going to start with a guy that's 18 years old and you're going to live to be 70 on the island. It's not plausible lore-wise, you know.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you have clones on the island, so they keep you young. You know, you die, you respawn at your, 18 years of age, even you manage to live to 22.
Yeah. Master Chef achievement for whatever tailor, weaponsmith, blacksmith. I guess they mean
Yes,
once that stuff's
we
implemented.
will have achievements tied to certain skills and their levels.
Taming a wolf. I guess if that's going to be an option, that'd be a cool achievement.
You will be able to tame animals. I'm just not sure if wolf is one of them.
Okay.
I like this one. Kill a VIP.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
I was literally about to read that one. That's a good one.
That could be tied to a certain, maybe even developers. Maybe you need to kill a developer to get a certain achievement. Why not?
Yeah. They're sprinkled in some of the servers every now and then, so.
We actually have play days. We had one recently, and the whole office playing Scum for the whole day just to see what, common folks are encountering on day-to-day basis when they play the game, and to, better understand the features that are implemented.
When you guys do that, how often do you guys do those?
Not so often, but we try to do it every 2, 3, 4 weeks. It's not always the same, break between. Depends on the amount of job we have to do for the upcoming patches. But
Sure.
We could make some future announcements before we start to do a play day, so people can, drop by the server and shoot us in the face. Why not?
Yeah, that's what I say. Kill the devs day.
That's okay. I mean, if you encounter a critical bug and it made you lose all your loot and your vehicle, shoot us. We deserve it. Not in real life per se.
Sure. No, yeah, we wouldn't want to go that far. But yeah, I was like, I mean, because that'd be something cool that you guys could potentially stream and an opportunity to talk to everybody, hang out, and just kind of play for the day. I mean, that's not something you guys don't actually broadcast that, do you? Not currently, at least.
Sorry, I didn't hear what you were saying.
Oh, did I lose you? I said that isn't something that you guys currently broadcast, is it? When you guys play?
No, but I think it would be possible, maybe from 1 or 2 points of view from people in the office. I can see why not.
Very cool. Well, yeah, if you guys want to consider it, that'd be, I think, something that'd be really, really cool for the community. Because one of the biggest things that I hear as positivity towards Scum is how interactive and reachable you guys are, and I've noticed that in my time playing here too. I mean, obviously we're doing this right now, so there's a lot of responsiveness and a lot of communication between you guys, and any way you guys can improve upon that, it's one of the biggest things that people say nice about the game. So
that's nice to hear. I'm happy that the community is pleased with the response they're getting from our side.
Yeah.
Primarily, I mean, most of the people in the office are hardcore gamers, so they really, they care for the game, not just from the developer's point of view, but from the player's point of view as well. They want everything to be fun and entertaining. So
sure. Hacking a mech?
Yes, 100% possible in the future. It's going to be tied to the hacking skill. It's going to be one of the best things about it.
Is there any idea on how that'll affect the mech, or what happens after you do that?
You will most likely be able to either control the mech for a certain amount of time, but you will be vulnerable in your prisoner position. So you'll have to a safe space, hide yourself, and you're going to hack the mech from a distance, and you could control it for a certain period of time. But at the same time, people could kill your prisoner while it's controlling the mech. So, and you wouldn't be able to defend yourself.
Okay, so it's but it would be remotely.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
most likely. I mean,
So
how
is
are you going to approach a sentry without it
yeah,
shooting
I
you?
know, that's exact. I was like, I don't know how we would do it anyway. Okay, so that makes sense. Okay, cool. And so would it be a device that you have to either make or collect or something?
Yeah, it will most likely be a device that you'll be able to craft with a high enough hacking skill
Okay.
or engineering skill, and you will have to collect the parts from different parts to combine them and create it. And also, you have to have high enough skill to use it. It won't be available to like basic skill or medium skill. It will probably be advanced or advanced plus.
All right. Somebody mentioned hiding in bushes. Like I mean, you kind of can already do that, but I don't know if they mean it's going to be more in depth or not.
Well, I mean, it's a feature we already have.
Yeah.
So if you care to elaborate what you mean by hiding in a bush, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Yes. Treehouse bases.
Uh, I'm not sure. Maybe as a predetermined structure that's built and placed somewhere, but I think there is going to be a possibility to put, uh, a tree house on a tree that's already on the island. It's probably going to create a lot of syncing problems, and if someone cuts down the tree, what's going to happen? It's probably
Right.
going to destroy everything. So it's debatable. I don't think so, to be honest.
How about weak spots on mechs coming?
Yes, yes. Most of the big bad guys are gonna roam around the island. They're gonna have weak spots.
Awesome. Yeah, that'll make a difference massively.
Yeah, and it's probably gonna be tied to your awareness skill. So if you have a high enough awareness skill, you're gonna spot the weak spots from the further away.
They say kill players with different weapons, melee, bow, rifle, SMG, 1 kill each weapon, and 10 kills each weapon, and so on. I'm guessing they're talking about it for an achievement. I'm sure that's something you guys have already thought about, though.
All good suggestions, all valid. Thank you.
Yep. Catch 100,000 fish. So I mean, yeah, basically just catch a certain amount of fish. That would be a cool achievement.
Yes, I agree. Or maybe one type of each fish in the game.
Yeah, catch
Yeah,
one of each type.
sounds good. Sounds good. Oh, I see. The person that suggested hiding in the bush as a feature, he was asking if it would be possible to hide in a bush when taking control of the mech. Yes, that would be one of the places where you could hide.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Are there any smaller tents planned?
I don't think smaller, but larger. Yes.
Very cool.
we're
Okay.
we're planning on implementing even some base building elements that are going to act as garages for vehicles and similar
Oh,
things. Maybe even some sort of military barracks for larger amount of people, not just basic wooden cabins.
cool. Scavenger hunts that reward a small supply drop. It's like as a mini mission, I guess.
Yes, I think it's a pretty good idea when it comes to mission choice. I can see why not. Thank you.
Yeah, I definitely think that. I mean, when it comes to missions and when we get these NPCs and maybe even NPC traders, if they have simple fetch quests, I think would even be really cool. Like go I don't know, fetch me 50 puppet eyeballs and and bring them back for whatever reason it is, and then you
Yeah,
bring them back to them, and you get a reward of some sort.
I mean, what's a game without a typical RPG quest, right? Bring me
Yeah,
10 wolf skins and bring it back, and I'm gonna give you a big shiny sword. So yeah, we're probably gonna have something like that as well.
yeah,
If I mean, for nostalgia's sake, if nothing else.
right. Building specific loot. So loot that is specific to buildings creates opportunities for events. So
Well, Killbox that is coming soon is going to be a good example of that.
right.
So, yeah. So when it comes into the game, you're going to see how it functions, and if you do not like it, give us feedback. But I think that's going to be the thing that you just mentioned. It's correspond to that.
options to squad up in tournament mode.
Possible, yeah.
Okay.
I think it can be done. Lesron, can you please elaborate on the collision fix zone? I'm not sure what you're referring to. It could be a lot of things, so.
Said being dropped out of a plane on spawn, like the lore said.
Yes, most likely, yes.
Okay.
Well, I'm not really sure about a first spawn on the island, but if you die and you choose a sector to respawn in, you're probably going to be dropped by a parachute. And you're going to be vulnerable in the air, and people could be able to shoot you down.
And you would potentially be able to control the shoot and all that?
Yes, yes.
Very cool. Okay.
Sort of like a gliding mode, yeah.
Right. And you guys have we talked about that already in the past before anyways. Like you guys figured adding in some sort of gliders or things like that might be an option. Maybe not planes, but gliders or player controlled flying, things like that, right?
Yeah, gliders are going to be part of the game, most definitely. We already have some models finished and just waiting to be implemented. We just have to deal with the priority stuff first, and we have to wait for our programmers to get the time to program everything out as it's meant to be, function in the game.
Awesome. And I did want to mention too, because we talked a little bit about it before and last time too, is is there anything we're able to talk about the work you guys are doing on advanced base building? As in like electricity or things of that nature.
Currently, electricity is not part of the base building patch that is going to come soon.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be implemented a bit later because it's a complex system that requires us to, really sit down and think about all the possibilities and all the interactions. Also, it's really hard to balance things out when you include electricity on the island. For the time being, it's mostly primitive, but once you put electricity in the game, things are going to change dramatically.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So for starters, we're going to get the big windmills in the game, and they're going to control the flow of electricity through certain parts of the island. Also, flow of electricity is going to be determined by the power plant that's already in the game.
Right.
And yeah, so we already have, places of interest in place. They're just waiting for the electricity to be, implemented. But it's gonna be, some time before we see it actually in the game. For the time being, we are working on, the base building as it is currently in the game. It's very performance heavy because you have wooden palisades, and every single piece of palisades, every single wooden log counts as a static actor in the scene. The more static actors you have in the scene, the more performance you're gonna, a bigger performance drop is gonna get. So currently, we're trying to improve the way the walls are being built. It's not going to be, a single palisade that's going to be spread out and, magically turns into a wall. It's going to be pieces of wall that are put, you're going to have everything between 25 centimeter wall to 5 meters wall pre-built. And they're going to, you're going to put it in place and you'll be able to upgrade it. What we get here is that we have one static mesh that is covering 5 meters that is acting as a 5-meter wall and not like 10 wooden logs. So we have like 10 times better performance for the same scene. So with the new base building update, you can expect a really good increase in performance all around. Also, what we did what we did notice is that certain base building elements are not really used in the game. If we look at the more primitive versions of the walls, they're rarely used. People always go for the wooden logs and palisades that are, reinforced with metal. No one wants to, build basic, branch walls because they're taking them really fast. So so currently we're trying to rebalance everything with the new base building patch. We're going to probably offer everyone the same starting point with the wooden wall. and you're going to have to upgrade it to reach better levels of protection. So you won't be able to place a metal wall to protect your base from the get-go. You're going to have to start with a wooden wall, and then you have to build it from here.
So like fabricate the wall.
Yes.
Okay.
And with every state, with every upgrade level, you're going to see visual difference on the wall, and it's probably going to offer some extra protection, and it's probably going to, inflict some damage on the trespassers as they try to jump over it or something like that.
Awesome. And yeah, so I mean, then that's stuff that'd be coming hopefully sooner than later, in comparison to the electricity, right?
The stuff is really close to being implemented. I think it's going to be in like, maybe even in 10 days from now. It's possible. I can't promise it, but we really did do a lot of work. And the only thing that's left is to test some things out and make sure that they are not abused. So if everything goes well, you're going to see it in the game really, really soon.
Awesome. I love it. I mean, everything that we've talked about today, I think, is got, as always, has people always excited. The story and the lore leading up to, the new POIs and missions that are probably going to be taking place, the achievements that we're going to be able to do after we have some new ones implemented, and especially everybody getting to make suggestions and ask questions. I think that's one of the most important things of us doing these things anyway. And talking a little bit about the base building and the fact that it potentially could be even in 10 days. That's something I think a lot of people are going to be really wanting to utilize as soon as it comes into place. But everybody remember one of the main things that he mentioned too, you will have to start from the lower level of the base, rather, whether it's wood or whatever, and then work your way up to the metal. You won't be able to just make a metal wall. So something to have in consideration. What I think we could do is, I think that's everything that we really wanted to talk about. We can still do a little bit of a Q&A here to kind of wrap this up into a little bow. And then, like I mentioned before, we still have one Scum key to give away that Bunny so graciously gave us. So we have that. And then after this, we're going to get into a battle royale where any of you guys who are in chat are welcome to join in. If you haven't already, make sure that, first of all, so you don't miss the next interview and you're here for the whole thing. And so you have people to play with if you need it. Hop into our Discord server right there that I just put in the chat for you guys, and we'll get you guys lined up to hop into this battle royale with us. But what were you going to say, Bunny?
Yeah, I'm completely fine with another Q&A. Also, you're going to do the key giveaway the same way you did it before, or?
Yes. Yeah, we'll just do it the same way. I'll just message it over to you.
Okay.
And well, there's something to wash the car with and keep it clean, please, Bunny.
So they're not really fans of the dirty cars.
No dirty cars? I guess not. They like to keep it clean. I mean, I know one person I play with in particular, they always wash their clothes, like every single time. They're never dirty.
I'll see what can be done. I can't promise anything, but I'll have a big talk with our guys tomorrow at work and see what they have to say about it. I'll do everything in my power to make your dreams come true when it comes to that.
Quoted from Bunny, makes your dreams come true. You guys heard it here first.
That's what I do.
Base build patch be will the base build patch be a server wipe?
Currently there are no wipes planned.
Okay.
If it does happen, I can't announce it right now. It's not something we're planning, but it can happen. So it's most likely going to be reserved for bigger patches, not something smaller.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we implement the new base building elements and remove the older ones, we're probably going to just leave the older ones that are already built stay on the level, and they can just decay over time and implement new ones. We don't have to wipe the servers because of it.
Bathing. So I guess like the player getting to take a bath or bathing.
It's going to be one of the requirements to keep your character healthy in the future. With the disease implementation, you're going to have to, make sure that you're not wearing dirty clothes or, doing dirty things. And you're going to have to take a bath from time to time to not risk getting an infection. Also, your character is probably going to develop some sort of scent that's going to be, detected by animals from further away if you're dirty. So, yeah.
Oh, and sorry, Yogurt Buddy, how do you join the giveaway? You just have to be a follower of the channel. So as long as you're a follower, we're going to do, basically, I'm just going to have a number between 1 and 50, and you guys try to guess it, and whoever guesses it gets it. It's one of the most fair ways I've found to do it. Because originally I used to do, ask trivia, and I feel like that's not fair, because not everybody knows everything, so that way everybody has a fair chance. Can we get keybinds for sitting down, laying down, peeing, pooping, etc.?
Yes, I can see why not. There are a lot of actions that require some rearranging in the key section of the options. Right. Yeah, we have that in mind, don't worry.
Very cool. Can we get beta or experimental phases on new patches? The last one broke a lot of stuff.
You can actually contact our mods and our developers over Discord, and you can apply for the alpha testing servers. Those are the servers where the patch is being implemented on before it goes live on the official ones. There you can test everything out, and you can report problems to us, and we can fix them before it goes live.
It says players can abuse events by starting one after death and get infinite respawns to finish up a fight. I guess that's just something he's saying.
Infinite respawns in the survival part of the game, or events?
Yeah, I'm honestly not sure. Somebody else pointed up at it too, so I figured it sounded important. But I'm not sure what they're asking there. Moving and stacking of inventory changes. Is anything being changed with that?
We do plan to do some changes to the inventory system, yes, and to the stacking and everything. Some items don't auto-stack, some items are not able to stack currently, but we do have that in mind as well, yes.
Dag nasty. There's a lot of items that should be stackable. Can you make an official announcement about the bait servers so the entire Scum community knows this is the way? You'll have more testers, hopefully. The bait. What is the bait server?
Beta servers, probably.
Oh, probably beta. Yeah, you're right. You're probably beta servers.
I mean, we already have a lot of testers active. And I mean, if you want to apply, just contact any of the developers over Discord, and they're going to make you sign an NDA and you can join the testing team.
Yep. Knife sheaths would be cool. Okay.
Knife sheaths. Yeah, I can see why.
It does sound pretty cool. I guess if we're going to have a pistol holster on one side, maybe a knife sheath on the other, that could make sense.
Yeah, some extra storage space, why not?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think that I'm not gonna, once again, like last time, keep you here for way too long. Although I'm glad we got to do it a little bit earlier, because we started at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time where I'm at, for the chat's information. But it is 8 p.m. We started at 8 p.m. East your time. So
yeah.
Yeah, you're 6 hours ahead, so it's obviously getting a little bit late over there. I'm not going to keep them for too much longer, but we're still going to do the Scum Key giveaway. I think what I'm going to do, because before I do the next one, we'll do it leading into the to the battle royale that we're gonna do. So I'll hop out of this server, hop into the other one, and you guys can all stay in here. If you guys also have any other further questions that I may be able to answer, we can try to do that. You know, I could do that through the whole stream, really. And I'm gonna be turning on all the stuff that all of my usual viewers love. So all the channel points getting to smack me in the face, punch me, all that stuff that you guys were talking about. I'm gonna turn it back on. I had to turn it off because obviously I couldn't do that the entire interview sitting here, you guys punching me in the face, so that doesn't really work. But I'll turn all that stuff on. I'm gonna put on the be right back scene, which is weird and unusual as always, so just get used to that. And after we do the be right back scene, we'll do the giveaway and we'll get going. Okay, I'll just get everything set up to get back to normal. and we'll go from there. So if you want to win the key giveaway, I'll be right back. I'm going to let Bunny say his farewells, and I'll let him get out of here and get done.
Thanks for having me, guys. Hopefully this is not our last interview, and we're going to be seeing of each other quite more in the future. It was a pleasure as always. Thank you for the support. Thank you for all the suggestions. And if you have anything else to add or suggest, please don't hesitate to pay a visit to our Steam forums. You can find me there every day. And you can also report bugs there. Also, if you want to join our testing program, you can contact any of the devs or our official Discord channel. Thank you, guys. And I don't know what time it is at your place, but it's night here, so good night.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. All right. All right, man. I'll talk to you later. You take it easy, all right?
Bye-bye.